Alright, so next question. Cause sis, you dropping them gems right now, and
okay.
I'm feeling the way.
We should.
I'm like, yes,
it should
like,
compel you.
Yes,
these
like
things
you
should
know,
compel you to action.
Like when so before we jump into the next question, one of the things that has bothered me is that, you know, when we say Black Lives Matter, we get all lives matter. Well, here's my only issue with that. With all lives matter, then the black ones are being targeted right now. So what you gonna do?
Mm-hmm. So it's like
because
it's a detraction,
right?
You mean to usurp the power of Black lives and say, well, no, all lives matter. But I'm like, you don't show up to a 9/11 rally.
You saw that, right?
All buildings matter,
right?
Or all cancers matter, not just childhood cancer. No, we it's anything to stop a movement.
Yeah.
So I think that when you talk about Black Lives Matter, it makes people uncomfortable. But I want to also say that white supremacy is not just in the mind of white people. We are ingrained with white supremacist thought.
Yeah. Decolonize
your mind. So that's been one of my biggest things as an educator. It's like I have to decolonize my mind because I'm taught, Christopher Columbus discovered America. How many of us have been taught?
The only Christopher we acknowledge is Christopher Wallace.
Baby.
Hey.
So it's like decolonizing your mind is something that we all need to experience. Marva Collins is one of my favorite educators. She's a brilliant educator. Well, she was a brilliant educator. She passed a few years ago. But she always says that education is painful. Ooh. And when you are thinking about how to re-educate yourself from what we've been taught for so long, it's like, wow, did anybody even care enough to tell me the truth?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as an educator, my role is to always tell my kids the truth. So that they don't grow up thinking, wow, nobody ever cared enough to tell me actual history. Not from the top up, from the top down. I don't teach that way. Let's talk about what the indigenous people are talking about at the bottom. Mm-hmm. What are real grassroots people talking about? So we compare and contrast those. This is what the main media says. This is what people experiencing, those marginalized people. That's what they're experiencing. How are they alike? How are they different? So when you get to talking about history in that way, it kind of reframes your mind. Like, we're always thinking about who won, because that's who writes the story. Who won? Who had quite frankly, the most firepower? So those with the most firepower, they get to write the narratives. So if we don't continue to decolonize our minds and write our own narratives, read our own people's narratives about what was going on, we'll continue to perpetuate this white supremacist thoughts of how things should go, how things should be, the proper way. And it's just like, my people are brilliant. And they live so long with this brilliance bottled up. But people are saying they're savages.
I always say we're some of the most damn creative people on this planet.
I agree.
We are creative.
So if you're in any space where you can't say white supremacy or colonization or imperialism, please get out of those spaces. Because it's like, why are people so afraid? To be honest. Living in fear is no way to live. And when I say resistance, I mean that. That's a form of resistance. No, we're not going to make these Europeans the standard of intellect, of beauty, of comedy, of drama, of anything. We are the standard. And I think when we operate in that space, it's a mind switch for everyone involved.
Whew. All right, y'all. Now I got to shoot good. Sis over here about to start preaching the word. I don't know. Like I told y'all, this is in her DNA for some reason.
Kendrick Lamar DNA.
There you go.
Got royalty, got loyalty inside my DEA. What did I say? DEA? Jesus. DNA.
Hey, I just, in my mind, the whole song was playing. Like, I don't know.
I am not a federal agent. I meant DNA, not DEA. Jesus.
Yo, can we just? Okay, so I know we're being serious right now, but I'm looking at my hair as we film. And I tried a new style in case y'all can't see. I'm rocking the middle
These are beautiful coils.
The coils are beautiful, but see.
Beautiful. No buts. The coils are beautiful.
But can we just acknowledge the fact that I look like Hey Arnold right now?
Those are lies. Your black is beautiful.
It is.
Your cords are beautiful.
But does my hair not look like Hey Arnold hair right now?
Take the kinks out of your mind, not your hair. That's Marcus Garvey for you. Do not take the kinks out of your hair. Take the kinks out of your mind. How you think about hair. Our hair is beautiful. Thick.
It is. Beautiful.
Like cold oatmeal.
All right.
Like a $4 egg sandwich.
All right.
Thick. We need to stop drinking. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go.
Next question.
Next question.
What are some of the disparities you feel exist in or amongst the black community?
Disparities are ingrained in it because white supremacy, and it's ingrained in everything we do. So I think about disparities. We were just reading an article. We were talking about the article before this started about in Memphis, Tennessee, where we are from, where I currently live. 9,000 people are about to be evicted. Now, of course, that is going to disproportionately affect poor African Americans. So housing disparities.
At an alarming rate.
Housing disparities. I think about jail disparities, the prison population amongst men and women. I think about, for me, I always focus on health disparities. And health and education, because those are two things that I find deeply personal to my life. My sister had sickle cell, and she succumbed to the illness 10 years ago next month. So I think about the ways in which people with this black illness, which is not really a black illness, are treated when they go into emergency rooms as just drug seekers. You're just here to get a high. And it's like, I'm in real pain because it's a illness associated with African Americans, associated with those young, specifically in Memphis as well. I want to say it's the second leading rate in the country for sickle cell patients. But when I see health disparities, I am particularly outraged about that. So
educational disparities,
the teaching industry is basically white women under the age of 30. So when I think about having children and having them sit in a space where you have teachers that are not culturally competent, I think about the disparities in suspension rates, the disparities in being pushed out of gifted classes but into special needs classes. When I think about just being pushed out of what is supposed to be a right as an American citizen, which is the right to a good education. I think about those disparities. Housing, food deserts, that's a disparity. Like, how can I be healthy mentally when I don't have proper nutrition? And it's not easy for me to get. I'm talking about there are places in Memphis where there is no grocery store for miles.
Oh, I know.
So it's like...
And then if there is one,
is there fresh vegetables?
Honest, exactly. They're not afforded the same luxury of having fresh vegetables, even just a clean environment to shop in, a safe environment to shop in. Sometimes I feel like they're always pushed to the bottom of the food chain.
And it's done intentionally, right? So this country never meant for us to A, survive, or B, become full realized citizens of it. So we always talk about this American dream, but it's like, what dream?
But pause, you said something. A, we were never expected to survive, but something I have been saying amongst the group of people, and you can feel whatever way you want when I say this, but the one thing black people know how to do, that is to survive, because that's all we know. That's all we, and I'm not saying that's the greatest thing, but that's like, I think about even when COVID happened, so many of us was just so chill about it.
Oh, this is just another thing.
It's just another thing for us to get through.
Right. So I think when America freaks out, black people are like, oh, okay. So how are we going to deal? How can we navigate through this?
How can we navigate?
Because, and it's heartbreaking. I mean, I could see it, you could say it's like commendable, but it's also heartbreaking because we've just, when you say survive, it's like, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. I want to live fully, not just always in a state of survival, like I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I think we deserve, it's our birthright to thrive. But that's something, a part of our humanity that has been long denied to us. So I think that when these things occur, Black folks know, okay, we just gotta make some adjustments.
That's it.
That's what we're gonna do.
We might have to shift a little money here,
right?
Put this here, and then here's the backup plan. So if this do happen, then we already in our mind, we already 10 steps ahead, thinking about this is what I'm going to do, because that's, once again, not that it's something commendable, but also it's a behavior that we know. It's something we've been taught. I feel like from birth is make it home.
Just make it home.
Get through the day. You know, because I think about even this past year of my life, I think I will always say, if I could just get through today. And that's survival mode, because all I need to do is get through today, and then everything will be okay. But what about when that's your response every day? Let me get through today. Let me get through today.
You're not really living. You are almost like a zombie.
Yeah.
So you don't get to feel the full human range of emotion.
Yeah.
So I think that's another denial. That's one of those denials that you don't really talk about. But it's like, I know that I have to, or I feel like I have to do these things. So denying me humanity is one of the biggest, most evil things about white supremacy. We can deny these people basic human rights. Basic things like, taking care of my family. I can't take care of my family because at any given moment I may have to move or get run out of town. So I think that those are the things that are ingrained in our culture, unfortunately. But that's why I always talk about resistance. We can resist those narratives. That's not who we are. That's who we have been forced to be, but that's not who we are. We're not just survivors. We are thrivers. We're living. We're breathing. We have joy. We have laughter. We have love. We can do these things.
We can.
So, yeah.
Oh, girl.
So, yes, as an educator, I disrupt these things. We're not going to have school as usual. We're not going to have, so with resistance, I always say disrupt whatever environment that you're in, because you have that right. When you see things not going the way it should go, when you see other fellow Black people being mistreated, your job is to disrupt those narratives. So that's what I feel like I do in the school system. I disrupt those narratives. We're going to talk about the Black experience. My students deserve that.
I think it's important and vital for them to understand the history of their people. And I guess I always laugh at this, because I think it's funny as hell when I hear people tell Black people or other nationalities, go back where you came from. And my first thought is, hell, y'all stole this country. So shouldn't you leave? Because I'm just curious. You should be the one leaving because you stole the country. Say what now?
That's just sheer ignorance, and it's such a lazy thing to say.
And it's always the go-to with that.
It's always, you speak this language, go back to where you came from. What? What are you talking about? Who said that?
Right. Who said that?
So I just, lazy racist responses make me chuckle. Because it's like, you ignorant as hell. And you feel so comfortable in white supremacy that you can talk to people any way you want to. One of the biggest things that pisses me off when I scroll social media is those videos of the Karens. They have a name now. Karens gone wild. You're not going to spit in my face because fuck you. You're not going to spit in my face. You're not going to push me. You're not going to do any of those things, because I'm not going to be the one that has to practice restraint. I've been provoked. You gonna see what these hands like. And I feel like a lot of people feel like, well, we're on tape, I can't do that. And that's a strategy of the civil rights movement as well. You want violence to occur so that people can see that those images. These people literally just want to sit down at a lunch counter. You turning red, sis. You turning red from your back. You are so outraged that I want to sit down and have a hamburger that you want to say, you look like a rabid dog. And it's and when you look back at it, it's like, all this for a cup of coffee though, sis? Bruh, that's all I want? So I think that showing these people and their hateful outrage was a very smart tactic of civil rights workers. And I think that still proves vital today. But I'm just not one for saying, I'm going to practice restraint because you're not going to spit on me. That's one of the biggest
disrespectful things you could
ever do to someone, and that has happened time and time and time again. So I think that resistance is really important. I think as a human, I get to protect myself because I'm being attacked over what? Space, public space. You don't own this space.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Speaking of just one thing, one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen on social media are those shirts that say, I am not my ancestors. I think that is one of the most disrespectful things because that is a counter narrative. Your ancestors had Winchester rifles in their homes. They were not just sitting up saying, oh, I'm just so scared, the white man will come and just... No, they fully protected themselves. Oh, you have people like Robert Smith, we shoot back. You have Robert F. Williams in the Carolinas. He's training men and women on how to shoot guns because we're going to protect our communities. In Bogalusa, Louisiana, you have the Deacons for Defense. We're going to protect civil rights workers. Okay, y'all want to practice nonviolence? Well, that's cool. We're going to protect y'all as y'all doing it. So I think that at the root of it, people are ashamed of the history of slavery. But I don't want people to do that because even in enslavement, these were not slaves. These were bondswomen and bondsmen who were in this system of bondage. So I think when we shift our narratives that way and give them humanity, the humanity in which they were denied, we can see the strength in these people. Like they resisted in so many ways to the treatment that they faced. So I think we need to honor their ancestors. We need to actually learn their stories and not what we've been told about them.
Well,
so they resisted in a number of ways. Don't be ashamed of the institution of slavery. Don't be ashamed of Jim Crow because these people, they fought back with their words. They fought back physically. They wasn't going.
I mean, because I've seen some pictures where I'm like, these weren't in the history books. Where y'all find these?
The picture of Gloria Richardson, who was a part of the Connecticut Civil Rights Movement, and she's kind of pushing the gun out the way. She's like, boy, back. She's like, get the gun. That doesn't scare me. And I think another one of my favorite quotes is from Fannie Lou Hamer, who says, I'm not scared of death. They've been killing me since I've been here.
Ooh.
Like, once you are not afraid to die for something, no matter what people do to you, okay, but I'm still fighting for freedom and liberation of my people.
Yeah. So. Okay.